Chapter 44. The Eve of Invasion. In Moscow, under a sky that was about to bear witness to an extraordinary event, a small group gathered in anticipation. Russian President Mikhail Petrov, journalist Emma and Alexei, secret son of Petrov, stood together, preparing for what they knew was coming. An alien invasion that would change the world forever. President Petrov had faced ridicule and disbelief from both the media and international leaders when he first spoke of the impending alien threat. His warnings, born out of classified meetings with an uneasy alliance, were dismissed as the ramblings of a leader under immense stress due to the looming threat of World War III against his country. The world chose to turn a blind eye, continuing with their daily lives as if the threat did not exist. Emma, whose articles had once exposed the secret alliance between world leaders and the aliens, found herself facing a similar wall of skepticism. Her investigative reporting, which shed light on the dark dealings and the subsequent dissolution of the alliance, was mocked and disregarded by her peers. The notion of an alien invasion seemed too far-fetched, a story better suited for science fiction than the front pages of newspapers. As the three of them stood together, they shared a sense of isolation in their knowledge, a burden of truth that had been too easily ignored by the world. But their conviction in what was about to happen never wavered. The night sky was clear, the stars twinkling innocently, unaware of the drama that was about to unfold. Then, without warning, the tranquility was shattered. Distant lights appeared, growing brighter and more numerous. Ships, unmistakably alien in design, began to emerge, dotting the night sky like a new constellation. The appearance of the ships was undeniable proof that the warnings had been valid. Across the globe, people gazed up in awe and fear, realizing that the world was about to face an unprecedented challenge. The media, which had once ridiculed the idea, now scrambled to report on the unfolding events, their tones shifting from skepticism to desperation. In Moscow, the initial shock quickly gave way to a flurry of activity. President Petrov, with a grim sense of vindication, began to coordinate a response. "Thank God we had already started preparing our people," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "This is not just Russia's fight. It's the world's fight now." Emma, her journalist instincts kicking in, started documenting the events. Her camera captured the surreal images of the ships, a visual testament to the reality of the invasion. "The world needs to see this," she said. "They need to know what's coming," unaware this was taking place worldwide. Alexei, drawing upon his military experience, began outlining potential strategies. "We have organized and planned our defense, but—" He paused. "This is unlike any enemy we've faced before." As the night progressed, the gravity of the situation became increasingly clear. The world was under an alien invasion, a threat that transcended borders and politics. The disbelief and mockery that had once greeted the idea were now replaced by a unifying sense of panic. In the face of the alien fleet, humanity found itself united by a common enemy. The realization that they were not alone in the universe, and that the other inhabitants were not friendly, was a wake-up call that reverberated across the globe. The eerie stillness of the night was abruptly shattered, as smaller spheres of light began to detach from the larger ships hovering in low Earth orbit. Like a swarm of deadly fireflies, they dispersed in all directions, signaling the beginning of the invasion. President Mikhail Petrov, journalist Emma and Alexei stood together, witnessing the unfolding horror. Their eyes were fixed on the skies, tracking the descent of the smaller lights, a sense of dread building with each passing moment. Then reports started flooding in from across the globe. Tall, black-clad beings, Drixarians, were emerging from the landing crafts, unleashing a wave of destruction upon anyone they encountered. The invaders moved with ruthless efficiency, their advanced armor rendering them nearly impervious to conventional weapons. Emma's voice trembled as she relayed the reports. "They're slaughtering everyone. There's no stopping them." Her words filled with fear as the reality of the situation was sinking in. Alexei, his face set in a grim expression, analyzed the reports. "Our standard weapons are useless. We need something more powerful." His mind raced, searching for a viable solution in the face of such a formidable enemy. It was then that the site where Petrov, Emma, and Alexei were gathered came under attack. Their first sighting of the Drexarians was a chilling experience. Tall and imposing, the alien invaders advanced with a terrifying purpose, their weapons cutting down any resistance with ease. In the chaos of the attack, Petrov made a decisive call. "Deploy the KH-47 M2 Kinsal missiles," he ordered urgently. "They're our best chance against their landing crafts." The Kinsal missiles, known for their high explosive payload, proved to be effective against the Drexarian landing crafts. Each successful strike was a small victory, a glimmer of hope in the overwhelming darkness of the invasion. However, the reality of their limited supply weighed heavily on Petrov's mind. "We're depleting our reserves too quickly," he acknowledged, his voice laced with concern. "We need to find a more sustainable way to fight back." Emma, documenting the events with a journalistic duty, captured the explosions in the sky, the downing of the alien crafts, and the desperate battles on the ground. Her camera lens told a story of resilience in the face of overwhelming odds and the human spirit's refusal to surrender. As the onslaught from the skies continued, Petrov, Emma, and Alexei watched in a state of awe and confusion at the fierce battle unfolding in space. Amidst the chaos of the invasion, a new force had joined the fray, engaging the Drexarian ships with formidable prowess. The identity of these new combatants was a mystery, but their presence offered a glimmer of hope. Alexei, his strategic mind analyzing the situation, turned to his father. "Try to contact them," he urged, pointing to the radio equipment. "We need to know who they are." Petrov, skeptical but desperate for any form of assistance, began to work the radio. His attempts seemed futile at first, his calls lost amidst the discord of the battle. But as he persisted, a breakthrough came. Just as hundreds of small fireballs entering the atmosphere streaked towards the large Drexarian ship in low Earth orbit, Petrov's radio crackled to life. He repeated his message. "To whoever is attacking the Drexarian command ship, our military is nearly depleted of missiles, the only effective weapon we have against the alien landing crafts." Each held their breath as they waited for a response. Then, a voice came through the static, clear and resolute. "Keep up the fight. We are on our way. Pass this information to other world leaders if possible. Help is coming." The words were a lifeline in the darkness, a promise of aid in their direst hour. Petrov, Emma, and Alexei exchanged looks of relief and renewed determination. The knowledge that they were not alone in this fight, that help was on its way, reignited their resolve. Petrov immediately began relaying the message to other world leaders, his voice urgent but steady. "This is President Petrov of Russia. We have made contact with a force attacking the Drexarian command ship. They have advised us to keep fighting and have promised assistance. I urge all nations to coordinate our defenses and prepare for their arrival." Emma, her camera still recording, captured this moment of unity and cooperation. Her reporting had always been driven by a search for the truth. Alexei, his mind racing with possibilities, began to outline potential strategies to hold off the Drexarians until the promised help arrived. "We need to focus on defensive positions, conserve our resources, and protect our civilians. Every minute we hold them back puts us that closer to reinforcements." The skies above continued to blaze with the conflict between the Drexarians and the mysterious new force. Below, the people of Earth rallied, fortified by the knowledge that they were not alone in their struggle. As the night wore on, the anticipation grew. The world waited for the arrival of the mysterious saviors. In Moscow, Petrov, Emma, and Alexei stood together, their eyes fixed on the heavens. They, like the rest of the world, were ready to welcome the reinforcements and join forces in the fight for Earth's future.